For everybody who jumps on, and for anybody who is watching this back, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Erin Hollon. I am the owner, designer, and wellness educator behind Lula Design. I sell crystal jewelry, obviously, essential oils, and I do wellness coaching. So I do a lot of things. I have my own group. I have an Etsy shop. I have my own website. But tonight, Carrie asked me to come here and talk to y'all specifically about crystal jewelry, about why I sell crystals. So I started out just as a jewelry designer and just making pretty things to have my own business, to be able to stay home. I had some different health issues going on. And as I started working with them, I started working with crystals for my own health, and I realized how much it was helping me. And I said, wait a minute. I need to be doing this as my jewelry. I need to be focusing on crystals and sharing this with everybody else. So I kind of pivoted my whole business based on that. And so the funny thing is I don't often I do a lot of education in my other group, but I don't often get to show people behind the scenes and just really talk about what I do every day. So this will be really fun for me. So y'all ask questions as we go. The 2 questions you asked at the beginning, I will make sure that I answer. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started, and I'm going to give you the 101 on crystal energy, and then how I make the jewelry and how I make sure that that energy gets to the person exactly the way that it needs to. Okay? So, crystal energy. We all know, Michelle, this goes to your question. We all know that living things have vibrations, right? We have light, energy, electromagnetic fields, all sorts of things, but the cells in our body are actually vibrating all of the time. This is energy, is vibration. And our cells, the vibrations that we have is quite mutable. It's changeable. The higher the vibrations, the better the health, the physical and emotional health. The lower the vibrations, the worse the health. And actually a lot of diseases, if you can Google this, but different hertz of vibrations, the lower you go, the different diseases that you're likely to end up with. It's really fascinating, and there's not nearly as much scientific study on this as we would like, but it's becoming more and more studied. And they're understanding that high vibrations is not just a hippie thing, that is actually true health, is having your cells vibrating in a way that they should. So we vibrate. Crystals also vibrate. The thing about crystals is that they're formed over thousands of years. It is pressure, time, space, water, air, heating under the Earth's surface, way down there. It's super hot, and then air gets in. There's a crack in the Earth's surface. Air gets in, water, other materials, and then the heat starts to cool, and crystals start to form. And so this, over giant amounts of time and giant amounts of pressure, is how we get crystals. So due to that crystalline structure, the vibration of a crystal is much, much steadier than the vibrations of humans and other things in the earth. It is the most stable form that we have found on the planet. And so what that means is that there's a vibration that each crystal wants to have based on where it was formed. So the water, the air, the heat, the cooling, how long it took, the color that it has, right? That has to do with light. An amethyst is going to have a different vibration than a hematite, than a clear quartz, based on the way that it was formed. And they want to vibrate at this way, and they are much more steady at that. However, over time, they can be influenced and the vibration can be changed, and that's how we're going to get into the sage smudging. But the thing that is important to understand is that crystals have a standard vibration, and it is very powerful. Now, a lot of people, when I talk to them about crystal energy, do the eye roll, and I would have done that before I started using them. But the first thing that I discovered is that it's not weird. There are liquid crystals in calculators, in watches. They're used in our phone lines. They actually use quartz for those really microscopic, when they're making those tiny incisions and doing really, really fine work in surgery. They're actually using crystals to get that energy that powerful and in that specific a point to do those tiny incisions. So the mechanical and engineering and medical community are aware of the power of crystals. It's just that everybody else has not caught up yet to that, right? So I want to talk about a particular category of crystal, but first, Michelle, let me answer your question. So we have cells that vibrate, and they are changeable, and as they change, we have better health. As our health declines, our vibration declines. So it's kind of a chicken and egg scenario with health and vibration. But because the crystals have a very much more specific vibration and hold that vibration, then the vibration of a crystal near your body, for example, one of my favorites, an amethyst on your forehead, the vibration of that amethyst will go into your cells. It will go into your body, and it will actually adjust and affect the vibration of the cells near it. So it would be like, to take a large scale example, going to a rock concert, okay? And standing right next to the bass woofer, right? If you are right up there by those speakers and you can feel them, the energy from that hitting you in the face, and you physically feel like you're being pushed back, but there's nothing there except for the sound waves, right? It is the same thing, except that it's a tiny little crystal and it's a much more subtle energy. So if you could magnify this, the effects, it would be super obvious. But because it's a tiny thing, that is why you have to experience it to be able to know. It's not like everybody's gone to a rock concert, but not everyone has put an amethyst on their head. So I hope that makes sense. So it's literally proximity of one vibration next to another vibration, and the more powerful and the more constant vibration wins, and thus changing your cells over to that vibration. Okay, let me know. Ask me a second question if I didn't make that clear. But I said that different crystals have different vibrations based on how they grew, right? So the ones that we decided to talk about tonight. Oh, Michelle, does it matter what size the crystal is? Is it a larger one better than a smaller one for helping? There are people who would argue on both sides of that. I don't think that one teeny tiny little crystal, I feel like it wouldn't do as much as a larger one. That's why when I do, about this size is about as small as I go, or the beaded pendants, right, that Michelle, you've seen. I don't do just like one bead and then say you're going to get the power out of that. Now, vibration is tiny and it's targeted, and so theoretically it wouldn't matter. So I have not read of or been told of a definitive answer to that. But being a human, we tend to think that size matters. And so I don't really go smaller than about this, this many beads, or about this size, because I just want to make sure that I'm giving you the effect. And I do know that from mine, like from any of the ones that I've used, the first crystal I wrapped was about this size. It was an aquamarine, and it was to help me have patience. And I felt immediate effects from that. So this size, we're good to go with. Carrie, Laurie, okay, so somebody in your group uses them and often has larger ones, which has made me wonder why she prefers those. So, I mean, they're pretty, right? A larger one is pretty. So this is a big rose quartz. Now, let's think about it in this term too. This is a big triangle, and it's flat on one side, so it's a pyramid. If I was to lay down, if I was to be having some emotional issues and I wanted some rose quartz support, and I laid on the floor and I put this right on my heart, okay, so this is going to sit there because it's large and it's flat. And so I bought this purposely for that purpose, whereas I have a whole chakra set right here. Whoopsies! All of these guys, and they are this size, right, and tumbled. And so it's a little more awkward if I lay this on my head than if I laid a large flat rock on my head, but as long as it stays there, it's fine. Michelle, we all know you need patience. We were just talking about that earlier today. Oh, you're going to hear all about that tonight. Okay, so yes, they have different ones, have different properties, and I can't answer the size question, but I do know that you do not need it to be a certain size in order to work. If you had a wall of amethyst, you'd probably feel more from that wall of amethyst, but you know, you don't need a wall of amethyst. Okay, let's talk about calming crystals. So, y'all voted and you wanted to talk about calming, and it makes total sense because not only do we all need to be calm, but especially this time of year, if you're a business owner, if you work in retail, if you have to go buy Christmas presents, if you have to cook Thanksgiving, if you have to host Christmas, right, then it's a crazy time of year for you. And you're starting to get agita, and you're starting to get stressed, and you're thinking, I just want to enjoy the holidays. I didn't want to be stressed about it. I just want it to be fun and thankful and full of love, you know, for myself and for my family. What do? Well, I put on a crystal, and so I'm going to tell you about that. So I'm going to go through 3. The first one I'm going to talk about is probably most people's favorite, one of their favorite crystals, rose quartz, okay? So this adorable little pink stone, right? Rose quartz, everybody knows what it looks like. That it's not really rose colored, right? It's that very light pink. Rose quartz is associated with the heart chakra, and I think that we all probably associate rose quartz with love. It's known as the love stone. Why is that? It is because the vibration of this crystal is ideal, when we talk about vibration, ideal for it is ideal for the ideal vibration of your heart, okay? And so when it's placed near your heart, it will adjust the vibration of this area of your body into a more desirable vibration. So what it does is it helps with unconditional love, with forgiveness, with an open heart. So there are people who protect themselves from love. They've been hurt before, and they don't want to receive love because they're afraid that they'll get hurt. There are other people who don't want to give love because they're afraid that their love will be taken advantage of. But there are also people who they have pain in their past. You've had a bad experience, and that is affecting either romantic relationships or friendship relationships or business relationships. It doesn't have to be about romance with rose quartz, but really this sense of trust and of caring for other people. If you have something in your past that is messing with your ability to be open about that, then rose quartz is fantastic for that. It will help you heal, and it will help you open up your heart again. Now, the reason I put this in the calming crystals is because that is one of the things that causes us social anxiety, right? The idea of, what if someone takes advantage of me? What if I put myself out there and I'm rejected? What if someone loves me and then they stop loving me? So any of that sort of relationship stress is taken care of by rose quartz, okay? So our second calming crystal, I already showed you, I let you glimpse, is amethyst. Now, I don't know if everyone puts amethyst into the calming category, but it's one of my favorite ones. It's also one of my favorite ones for artists. Artists tend to be sensitive souls, okay? Creative people tend to have a lot of ideas all at once, and they are worried about what the world thinks about them. As they put their art into the world, they're concerned about what other people think, and they just have trouble getting down and focusing. And so what amethyst does is it helps you to have clarity and intuition based on making your brain focus on one thing and getting rid of all of the noise around you. So let's say you're trying to, I'm going to take just a real life, doesn't have to be an artistic example. You're trying to cook dinner, right? But you also need to do the laundry. Your kid is pulling on you because they want you to play with them. Your husband's coming home in a minute, and that you said that the living room would be clean because you're having people over tomorrow. But you just need to be able to focus on getting the dinner made, but you have all of these other things to worry about. What amethyst helps you do is pick one, be in the now, and do the now, and then worry about the next thing later. I saw a YouTube video not too long ago that was why stay-at-home moms never get anything done. And it was supposed to be funny, but it stressed me out because she would pick up the laundry basket and then walk by a toy and then pick up the toy and then notice dust and then get the duster and then notice dirt on the floor. And she could not concentrate on one thing. And so none of it got done. And all she was an exhausted, stressed out person at the end of the day with nothing done from her to-do list. Now, that's, over the top, but a lot of us do that. You start one thing and you start another thing and you start another thing and you're just worried about everything all of the time. And what you really need to do is be in the moment. And the intuition part of this is hearing yourself speak, being able to say, okay, this is the right way to do this. This is a good way to make this decision and move on, rather than constantly being worried about what all of the other information out there is. You need to be able to do one thing at a time and do it completely, and that is what Amethyst is for. It's also associated with the third eye chakra, so it has a lot of spiritual connotation of being connected to the universe, higher thought, spirituality, meditation. But the science, I love to talk in scientific terms because I'm more of a left brain person. The science part of it is that what it is doing is allowing your brain to focus and allowing your left and your right brain to talk to each other. And so you're getting communication from both sides of your brain, and you're able to stay in the now and get things done. So the other way that people use amethyst is to help improve sleep. So lavender oil and amethyst is my favorite combo for insomnia, because you can put this guy on your head. And Michelle, if you do this with an amethyst, you will immediately understand your question about vibration and how it works. If I lay down with this on my head, I can feel the weight of it, first of all, but then you can literally feel a little pulse going into your head. And if I have a headache and I'm trying to sleep it off, I will wake up, and instead of all of that, the pain being, in one spot on my head, it is dispersed into like kind of a fuzz throughout my head. So it has changed the cells in my body and the nerves to not just have that sharp pain, but to just kind of like, okay, it's okay, we know it's here, but it's dispersed a little bit. So that's why I love amethyst. And then the third one, our third crystal, is going to be a lesser known, but a fantastic common crystal. And this is blue lace agate. Now I hope on this video that you can see this. You see those little bands? So what makes agate is that they have bands. And so these are little blue and white stripes. And if that's not just the most peaceful looking stone, right? It's like waves on a beach or something. So this blue stone is associated with the throat chakra. And many of the throat chakra stones are blue or green. But Carrie, this one's new to you? Yeah. It was a little while before I started using blue lace agate because I was so into aquamarine. But this one is even more peaceful than that crystal. But basically, any throat chakra stone, what it is there for is to help you communicate. And if you understand stress in your life, then a lot of times the source of stress is that as humans, we want to be heard. We want to speak and have people listen and have people understand us. We want a connection with other people in the world. And many, many, many times we feel disconnected. We feel that people don't understand us, that people don't get us, that they don't care about what we have to say. And again, I go back to creatives, because if you are putting a product out into the world, a painting, a piece of music, a piece of jewelry, whatever it may be, and you're saying, here is my thing to the world, and you're not getting anything back from the world, your business isn't thriving, then you have a giant block here of I'm saying something and nobody is listening to me. And there's no worse feeling than that. And this happens in relationships. It happens at work, right, where you're an employee and you just feel like nobody cares. You're putting all this effort in, but it's not seen. So it is really, really great for people who have trouble expressing their feelings, who have trouble saying what they really mean, and are afraid that people will not like them or like what they have to say. And people who also in childhood maybe were told to, children are to be seen and not heard or something like that. Or just, it's another really person-to-person anxiety issue. The throat chakra is huge for me because when I started using crystals, the reason was not anything you would think. It was actually that I had hypothyroidism so badly that I was having trouble working. So I was exhausted all the time. I cried every morning when I had to get up and go to work. I was stressed out. I hated my job. And I was not creatively fulfilled at all. It was just being a retail sales manager. And my doctor had done every single thing that she could. But the last thing she said was, look, you have to get more sleep. And you have to stop stressing. And I was like, I'm not stressing. I'm an incredibly calm person. I don't know what you're talking about. But it turned out about like a year later, I realized, oh my goodness, I've been lying to myself this whole time. I'm a totally stressed out person. I'm just a high functioning stressed out person. Nobody ever knew how stressed I was. But when I became stressed, I grabbed hold of life more and I said, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. No one will ever know that my life is a disaster. And so when I finally said, okay, I have to change something. I can't, the medicine doesn't work. I'm going to have to do something different. The first thing I did was wrap an aquamarine, and I wore it every single day to my job. And I said, my health is more important than stress. My health is more important than this angry customer. My health is more important than my frustrated boss. My health is more important. And every single day, I said, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be calm, because that was all that I could do to help me to move out of this crisis mode with my health. And so I started to notice a difference. I was able to be more calm. People started to notice that at my business. And I started to realize I don't want to do this, and I can make changes in my life to get out of the situation that I'm in and to do things that I want to do. And it led me into starting my own business. And so I will forever be grateful for crystals for that reason, because I took an aquamarine, which is another throat chakra stone, and I wore that every day. And then the next one that I wrapped was a rose quartz, because I was having trouble with my relationship. And I wrapped that, and I said, look, I just need the energy to love other people and just to trust that people will love me back. And I had those two stones, and those two stones got me through about 6 months of a year. And finally, I was able to start to make changes in my life. And the next thing I discovered were the essential oils. And that was where some of the physical symptoms really started to change. But the crisis mode that I got out of was through the use of this aquamarine crystal. So the throat chakra stones are my favorites. But I will list some of them for you. So you have aquamarine, which is another really a communication one, but patience a lot. Blue lace agate, which is for calm communication, not being afraid to speak. And Amazonite is another fantastic one, which is for balancing of emotions, and associated with female power, the Amazon women, right? So any of those throat chakra stones are going to be calming for you. Anyone have questions about those, about rose quartz, amethyst, and blue lace agate? There are other stones that can be calming, some grounding stones. If you can just pull yourself down into the earth a little bit more, you can have calm. But a lot of our anxiety takes place right here. So the crystals that I've given you, you've got the third eye, the throat, and the heart. So that's dealing with issues of brain, communication, and heart. So here's where we get to the fun part, okay? Are y'all ready to talk about Reiki? Who has any idea about what Reiki is? Michelle, you're asking about chakras. So the chakras, I would love to. Carrie, maybe I'll come and talk about it more in here, but in my group sometime in 2018, I would love to go through the chakras with you guys. We have focused a lot on the issue and then the crystal for the issue, rather than just focusing on the crystal and working our way back out from there. But we could totally do that. We could totally take a chakra and talk about that all day long. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey into Reiki. I had no idea really what Reiki healing was when I began my business. I started using crystals, and I started making jewelry for people, and I started making crystal jewelry, as I explained, after I realized the power behind these crystals. But because I was such a stressed out person, I was exhausted, I was tired. I realized, when I'm in a bad mood and I'm making jewelry, I'm putting bad energy into this. And I just knew, intuitively, I knew that is not a good idea. I'm asking for someone's money, and I am sending them something that I really believe in. And the last thing I want to do is share my negative energy with the world. So I stopped and I said, I have to fix my energy, but I also want to understand how I can put better energy into this piece of jewelry. How can I control the energy that I'm putting into this besides just being in a good mood? And through that, I found, in a business group that I'm in, I found a lady who does Reiki training. And she trained me, Lotus Heart Crystals is her business. She took me through Reiki 1, and then since then I've gone through Reiki 2, which means that I can actually heal other people, not just myself, and I can do long distance healing, which is important for crystal jewelry. But it came from a place of not wanting to put bad energy into the world, but the beauty of Reiki is that I discovered that now I can actually control putting fantastic energy into the world. So what Reiki is, it comes from two words, Rei and Ki, which mean universal life energy is Rei, and then that vital energy, which we think of kind of as the human life force, is the Ki. So you have universal energy and life force energy, and putting those two together. And the concept of Reiki is that there's energy all around us, and that all it is channeling the energy from the universe into one focused purpose. So if I have a person that I'm wanting to heal, that I am just placing my hands, say on their throat chakra, on their third eye, on their heart chakra, placing your hand there and asking Reiki to flow into that space and asking the energy that is all around us to heal them, to change the vibrations, to change the health of that area of the body. And Reiki energy, it's not like medicine in terms that you would say, okay, I have asthma, so I want to fix my asthma, so Reiki energy me to fix my asthma. You're just putting positive energy into the body, and then it does what it needs to do, okay? So I learned how to self-heal, and then I learned how to put that energy into a crystal. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about what I do. So I'll show you a piece of mine. Let's see. This is a raw rose quartz, so it's got jagged edges. This little beauty here. So I wire wrap them in either copper or silver or brass wire. I wrap them up, and then once I have it all wrapped and it's beautiful and I have it on a chain, then I have to cleanse it of any negative energy that came before, and I want to put the energy that I want in it. I have to put it in there. So, first step, and I'm actually going to show you guys this. Hold on. I'm actually going to show you guys this with two of my necklaces that I had to make for customers today. So this is the other style that I do. I do the single stones, and then I do beaded, wrapped beads, and this way I can combine crystals. So like this one is sunstone and aquamarine. This is my peace and joy necklace. So it is targeted for exactly what we've been talking about, right? Calming and having a positive mindset. And then the energy boost necklace, which has amethyst, and then blue apatite and tiger eye. And this is for focus, calm, goal setting, and goal completion. And this is what in my group we've been focusing on, energy, for this month. So these two pieces I have wrapped. They're beautiful. I put, my positive, loving energy into them when I was making them. But before I send them out, I want to make sure any energy that came from where it came from before, the store that I got it from, where I ordered it, any of that energy that is potentially negative, somebody's bad day or electromagnetic smog or whatever, that I get that out of there before I start putting positive energy into it. So, sage. Who knows about sage? Sage comes in multiple forms, okay? So I've got my abalone shell, which is like, who doesn't love an abalone shell? Look how gorgeous that is. You can have loose sage leaves, okay? Which is a lot of times what I use. Or you're probably used to a traditional sage smudge, right? Okay. Yeah, Michelle, I was about to say, so on my YouTube channel, there is actually a video on how to make a sage bundle, how to sage your house, how to sage yourself, how to sage your jewelry. And in that, I explain that whereas this is white sage, right? This is what you think of when you think of sage. And then there is garden sage that you would find at the grocery store. You could take garden sage from the grocery store. I would get organic because you're going to be burning it. And you can dry that out and you can burn that garden sage. That's what they use in Europe because that's the type of sage that they have. The white sage comes from California. So it's just a particular California sage, and the Native Americans, used it for hundreds of years. But also for hundreds of years, they've been using that other type of sage in Europe because it's what's native. Okay, but the other way it comes, this is just the natural, I don't know, bush. but it's basically just the sage leaves still on the stem. And I'll use that a lot. Before I got the abalone shell, I would just light this and hold it, and then hold the jewelry over it. But it's easier to do the abalone shell, just like that, and then it only takes one hand, right? So, y'all feel free to ask questions in the comments as I go, and I will try and watch and answer them, but I'll just show you real quick. Now, before I start this, I don't know if you've noticed sirens off in the distance. I live in Brooklyn, so there's a lot of noise, but I had to open my window because when you sage, the properties of sage are cleansing of the air, so they actually, I believe it's negative ions. It's the same thing as a salt lamp. I have one of those if you see the orange glow over there. Salt will actually change the ionization in a room, and it will lighten the air quality, and it will pull the dust out of your room. Well, sage also does the same sort of thing that salt does in that way. It improves the energy in the room. Obviously on you too. It also has cleansing properties from the sense of bacteria. So if you want to get like a gross smell out of your house, saging is an excellent way to do that. But you need that negative energy and all that gross stuff to go somewhere. So you open your window, and if you're going to sage your house, start in one corner and work your way towards the window. And that way all of that bad stuff goes out the window and does not just, it's like, it would be like sweeping, right? If you swept up all of the dust and then never put it in the dustbin, there would be no point in it. So you want it to go somewhere. Carrie, you have salt lamps all over the soap shop. Yeah. If you turn them off and spend a day in there, you will notice that your head hurts more and that you feel heavier, especially if you work in front of a computer much of the day. It's actually helping with the electromagnetic smog. There are also crystals for that too, if y'all want to know what they are. But so yes, having that salt lamp, it makes a big difference, but it's one of those things you don't notice it unless you turn it off, and then you're like, oh my goodness. So I am going to light this off camera, so in case something horrible happens, you don't have to see. All right. So it's lit, right? Now, if I was holding this in my hand, I would shake it out sooner than this. But what you want to do is just get a good smoke going, all right? Oh my God, this smells amazing. So, you get this good amount of smoke going. Traditionally, you would also have a feather that you would wave with. I just use my hand, but the traditional way to do it would be to have a long feather with which you would wave. You would just hold this in your hand, and then you would send the smoke out into the room, onto another person. You can cleanse another person, onto yourself, bring it into yourself. But in this case, obviously, we're just going to do the jewelry. So I would generally, I know, we need a, 4D or something where you could smell this. It smells so good. Okay. And when you buy jewelry from me and you open the package, it smells like sage. And sage smells like the yoga studio and also a little bit like marijuana. So if you get a package from me, I promise the smell is sage. So here we go. When you put these in here, I also wish y'all could be here with me because it is just one of the prettiest things ever to watch the smoke just go over these crystals, go all the way up the crystals and go in and out. And in the daylight, the smoke is like this bluish tint, kind of bluey, purpley. It's just beautiful. So I just sit here, and it's like really mesmerizing. You just sit here and enjoy it. And it's cleansing the crystal, and it's cleansing me because I'm right near it, right? And just watch it work. And the idea is between 60 seconds and 3 or 4 minutes. I kind of use intuition until I feel like it's out. Now, because it's so windy, I've lost my smoke at this point. If I felt like, if I wanted to do it longer, if I have a lot of pieces, I just light it a little bit again, get some more smoke, and keep going. So the beauty of this is I can do a few at the same time, right? I can grab 5 necklaces and do all 5. It doesn't have to, they don't have to be separate from each other because the sage will do the work either way. But so that is the first step. So I am cleansing any of the negative energy, and I would be silent and I would be having positive intent. usually rather than talking to someone. But get all the negative energy off of there. And if you are holding a smudge stick, or if you're holding one of these guys, wet this. Okay, don't set this down on some piece of wood and just hope that it's not going to burn something. Like, actually put it out. Put out the fire. Put out the cinders before you set it back down. But it's because it's in this abalone shell, we're safe. It's fine. Okay, so now I have beautifully cleansed crystals, right? Same could be true. I sell bracelets too, so I could just hold the bracelet over it. You know, you could do it with a single crystal. If you had a single crystal that you wanted to cleanse, the smoke's not going to hurt your hand, so you just hold the crystal over it. Some people use Palo Santo as well, the wood that is cleansing. I don't have that just because it's not as easy for me to get. Like, all of this is easy to get in California, but you could get that if you go to a metaphysical shop, a yoga shop, something like that. You would be able to find either one. I really like the smell of sage. So that's the cleansing step. Pop any questions if you have them for me. But then the next step is the more mysterious step, is the Reiki. So when somebody buys a piece of crystal jewelry from me, what we do is they can either, like, especially if it's my Etsy shop, maybe they don't know me, they're just buying a crystal through Etsy. They can just say, I want the Peace and Joy necklace, send it to me. And if they do, then I choose an appropriate intention based on the crystals themselves. A lot of people will say, okay, I'm really struggling at work, and I want to be able to stay calm in a work environment. So I will set the intention for peace and calm in a work environment. Basically, if you were to buy something from me, you could be as specific as you wanted to, or you could just trust me to put the best thing in there. But what is an intention? An intention is a lot like an affirmation in the sense that it is, I want this energy in my life. I want to have, what would be, so if we're talking about calming crystals, I want to open my heart to give and receive love. I used to say that one all the time. Open my heart to give and receive love. Or it might be, I want to let go of the pain from a past relationship and move on. Or I want to not be afraid to speak my mind, to not be afraid to communicate my art to the world. I want to not be afraid to have inspiration. I want to be inspired to create something beautiful, right? It's something like that. An intention is something that is a goal of yours that you are willing to put effort into every single day and baby step it until it comes. And you're just asking that the crystal would provide you with a boost of energy to make that happen. So, for my energy boost necklace that I've been doing recently, it's been for focus and motivation. That you would have focus and motivation to complete your daily tasks. So I'll set that intention. But in order to have the energy in the crystal, I'm going to Reiki infuse the crystal. So I would pick, let's do this one, Peace and Joy necklace. And I actually we haven't really talked about crystal shapes at all, but I have my clear quartz crystal, okay, which has the point on the end. And the point focuses the energy. And so if you've seen energy healing, someone holding a crystal above someone's body, which they would do, a lot of places that do acupuncture might do that as well. They're using crystal point because they're pointing where they want the energy to go. So I use this crystal because it is pointing the energy into my piece. And then when you are Reiki 2 attuned or you're a Reiki master, there are symbols that you are given to help with intent. So I use a power symbol, a symbol that is increasing the power of the energy, and a long distance, a distance healing symbol. And I literally will draw, I'll have this in my hand, and I will draw the symbol over the piece while saying the symbol phrase. Some Reiki people think you shouldn't share this before people are attuned. Some people say you do, so I'll be neutral about it. But you draw the crystal, you draw the Reiki symbol, and you say the Reiki symbol 3 times, okay? Then I would draw the second one over the crystal. Then cupping the crystal in my hand, I'm locking in the energy that's flowing through my hands. The idea of Reiki is that through your crown, through your the top of your head, You're receiving the energy and it flows through your hands into the recipient, which in this case is the crystal, and through the crystal, through distance healing, the person that's going to own this crystal. So I would just ask the Reiki to flow, and then I literally will just stand here. I'm sitting, but I would stand. I also usually don't wear shoes so I can get more grounded. I'll just stand and I will ask the Reiki to flow, and then I will repeat either out loud or in my head the affirmation, the intention that I have. So, for peace and calm in a work environment. For peace and calm in a work environment. For peace and calm in a work environment. And the beautiful thing about this is, until you have experienced it, the people on the other side of this, when they open their jewelry, I get, and it's really, it makes me feel great. On Etsy, I'll get all of these reviews that when they open it, it just feels right. They feel peaceful immediately, or they feel energized immediately. So the person on the other side can feel the energy, but it's amazing to me to be able to feel the energy going in. And what it feels like really, and it's different for everybody, but what it feels like is your hands start tingling a little bit, and I can feel the energy, kind of like almost like if you get the shivers, right? Almost like that, going down my arms, and it's really just releasing my, not having an intention, not trying to make anything happen, but just allowing it to happen. And the vibrations may be erratic because I'm trying to change the vibrations of the crystal. I'm trying to get any negative shift that's happened based on the environment on this crystal, and just get it back to its natural state. But you'll feel more and more energy, and literally it feels like my palms are filling up with energy. Like there's actually something physically in there, and almost like electricity, a kinetic energy in my palms. And the pulse of the crystal, the feeling kind of like this of a vibration, will stabilize over time. And once that is stabilized, once I feel that it's really the same constant vibration, that is when I intuitively decide that I've completed the Reiki infusing. So that probably takes me, I mean, it feels like longer, I guess, because I'm standing there with my eyes closed, but I would say between 2 and 5 minutes of just concentrating and I try to feel whatever it is that the person is asking for. If they're asking for energy, I concentrate on feeling energized. If they're asking for peace, I concentrate on being peaceful. So for me, a lot of my business, the time that I spend on my business is making sure that I am in a correct energetic state for the jewelry. That if I'm having a bad day, if I'm sick, if I have a headache, I don't make jewelry, and I don't cleanse it, and I don't infuse it. So if you get a piece of energy from me, I have made sure that I am in a proper state in order to put the best energy into it for you. And so I will, when I send them all out, I'll do it in the morning, I do them all at once. And I make sure that I have enough days. My window is 1 to 3 days out. Sometimes they go out in one day, but sometimes it takes 3 days because I have a couple rough days in there, or I'm busy and I'm stressed, and I don't want to send stress to you. Okay, Michelle, can anyone smudge crystals, or do you have to be a Reiki healer to do that in order to cleanse the crystals? So the thing about Reiki you could do without crystals, right? Reiki doesn't necessarily have anything to do with crystals, and crystals don't necessarily have anything to do with Reiki. So you can Reiki heal just by putting your hands on people. The reason that they pair so beautifully together is because the crystals have that steady energy, they have the steady vibration, and so when you set energy into them, they hold it. They have that memory, as it were. That's why they get used in watches, right? And in computer chips. So, I know Michelle always has good questions. So the reason that Reiki and crystals is a natural fit is because you're taking Reiki energy and I'm putting it into a crystal and giving it to you, and you can be anywhere. So that I can Reiki heal you essentially by you buying a piece of jewelry from me, no matter where you live. And over time, your crystal will be affected by your negative energy, right? So if you're wanting calm, it is trying to affect you and get you into a more calm state to change your vibration, but you have a lot of vibrations in your body and it's fighting back against it. So over time, you may start to feel that it's not working as well. And it would be because of the effect that you're having on it and it's having on you, and also the environment, other people, right, that come into contact with you, people that stress you out. Also, electromagnetic smog. This is another thing where, a lot of people have trouble believing in crystal energy, but a lot of people also have trouble believing in the electromagnetic effect that it has on our body, the vibration, the microscopic, that's not the right word, but the tiny vibrations that your cell phone has when you put it against your brain, when you hold it in your pocket all day. That's the same thing. That's the same issue. Those vibrations are not in line with the way that our cells should be. They're disruptive vibrations. They're not at frequencies that are good for us. But crystals are at frequencies that are good for us. So it's literally technology and crystals are the same thing, just one is positively affecting us and one is negatively affecting us. And I went on a rabbit trail, but so you were saying, can you cleanse them? Yes, anybody can smudge. Anyone can cleanse anything with smudge, because it's not you doing anything, right? It's just the sage smoke that's cleansing. And I actually, I was telling Carrie that when I send you guys, whoever wants to buy a necklace, when I send it to you, I'm going to send you a few of the leaves, and all you have to do is just light one. Let's use fire again. You can hold it and light it, or you can put it on a ceramic pot, something that won't burn, right? Okay. And then you're just allowing that smoke to cover the crystal, right? Just like that. So it's the smoke that's doing the work, not you. You're not trying to put anything into it. You're just cleansing it. So does that make sense? But anyone can also use Reiki. You just need to study to be attuned to it. It's basically being opened up to the ability to channel the energy. You could put an intention into the crystal, right? You can hold it in your hand and you can think, peace and calm at work, peace and calm at work. And that has an effect. It's just not the same thing as, it would be like you giving someone a massage versus a massage therapist giving someone a massage. Does that make sense? Yes, if someone walks up to me and massages my shoulders, that feels good. But it's not the same thing as a Swedish massage at a massage therapist. So the other way to charge your crystals, if you're wanting to energize them, put more energy into them, is to put them in the sunlight or under moonlight. And there's that universal energy, you're allowing it to filter into it without a human having to do it, okay? So if you don't put amethyst in sunlight, because amethyst will actually turn clear. The sun actually drains the color from amethyst. But most other crystals you can put in sunlight. And if you live outside, a lot of people will, if you live in nature, which I don't, I live in Brooklyn, but if you live in nature and you have a full moon, then you can put the crystals out under the full moon and allow that to charge them. You can also cleanse them in other ways. It doesn't have to be sage smudge. You can cleanse them with water too, but there are some crystals that will dissolve because they're actually stones that are crumbleable stones. Quartz would be fine, but you don't want to use water just because you don't want to accidentally use water on a crystal that shouldn't have water used on it. So sage you can use on any of them. So you absolutely should sage your jewelry. Whenever you feel that the effects are lessening, you should 100% sage it and then set it out. You can also set it on a large quartz. So there's a lot of energy in that. So some people will have a big quartz or a big amethyst, the amethyst with all the little points, and set the jewelry down on that. But really, the Reiki intention, the first time that I'm doing it for you, is kind of the most targeted energy. Other than that, leaving it all night long or all day long under the sun would be the next best thing. And if there's something else that I know that you tell Carrie that you want to learn about, I'm happy to drop in again. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. It's fun to meet new people, and it's fun. I don't really do this behind the scenes. Maybe I'll have to do it again sometime, but that was fun to talk just a little bit about my process. So if y'all don't have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and jump off. We're at 9 o'clock. But thank you so much to everybody who joined in. For you guys that watch back later, thank you as well. Post comments in the below, questions that you have below, and I'll try and get back and answer them. If you need to message me, as I always say in my own group, which if you want to join that, you're welcome. It's the Creativity Club by Lula May Design. I'll post a link there for you too, because I do this all the time there. But basically, I always tell people, if there is a question that you have, because we're talking about potentially sensitive emotional or physical issues, you can always message me, and I am always happy to help. So message me, friend me on Facebook. If you have a question about natural healing, I do essential oils as well. I am always more than happy to help point you in the right direction. I just love to spread all of this wonderfulness that I've discovered as part of my own life. So thank you guys. You're wonderful. And I look forward to knowing you better and chatting soon. And if you have any questions about the jewelry in the shop when you go there to pick one, let me know that too. All right, guys? Y'all have a fantastic night and a happy, happy holidays. Talk to y'all later. Bye.